Hey guys, and welcome to my first postpartum and baby update. Now, I don't actually have him with me. I've debated, like, do I want to try to film with him? Definitely insert some clips of him at the end of this video, like more recent ones. So I just think I'm going to lose my train of thought because he's quite a boppy little guy. So let's go ahead and start with some of his like birth stats because some of you guys seem to have missed it. So his name is Darien River. He was born May 6th at 6:32 in the morning. He was 7.5 pounds, so 7.5 pounds and 19.5 inches long. So he's just like the cutest, sweetest little guy, but he's definitely got some spunk. We're definitely finding out. He, at first, I really thought like he was quite a mixture, like, or like at least like in the middle of Olivia and Leia in terms of temperament, but I'm thinking he's actually leaning more towards the fussier side now, but I'm not sure if it's because he has a lot more tummy problems than the girls had, which I heard is more common with male babies, but I don't know, it's kind of frustrating for the little guy. I feel really bad, but at the same time, he's really woken up the past couple weeks, and like, even though I still think like majority he looks like Leia, I thought he would be like more mixed, but I do see more of Olivia in him, especially now that he's more awake, like especially like here, like in the eye and eyebrow region, like he looks at you really intense, like he's looking into your soul. Like that's the best way I can describe, especially the way Olivia used to look at you at such a young age. And I feel like he may have her eyebrows and like face expressions and stuff like that. But yeah, so temperament-wise, I definitely see so much of Olivia, but he's a lot more consolable than I remember Olivia being. Plus, I'm a third-time mom, and I've already, I think I've raised one of the more fussy babies that you can raise. So I'm pretty much prepared for anything. He's a pretty good feeder, but he does have a lot of, again, personality traits that remind me of the Olive. But the thing is with him, after he was born very shortly afterwards, I always knew that I wanted to try the breast crawl with him, which is basically where you put them on your chest and then they basically kind of bop and crawl their way to the nipple and latch themselves. And I expected to have to initiate it a little bit, like at least like we would settle down and lie down, but literally within a couple minutes after I picked him up, if you watch the birth story, you know that I basically picked him up and put him on my chest. He like within just a couple minutes just did it on his own. He was just all of a sudden he was over there. It was crazy, and he was attached just like out of nowhere. I was like, well, that was the easiest latch on we've ever had. So I thought we were in for like a super smooth, easy journey. But then soon enough after that, he bit me, and I was like, whoa, he's got a really strong suck as well, like way stronger than my girl sucks everywhere. So I was like, this is a little bit more interesting. And then we tried to latch him on later, like with me initiating it and my midwife initiating it. So my midwife had my boob and I was holding his head, and we were trying different things, and he was doing very similar things to what Olivia did. Like this like really like instinctive, like overly excited bopping like at the boob, like just like over and over again with his mouth open though. And he was doing like this, which is exactly what Olivia did, and it took like a while to get him back on. I was so confused. I was like, well, he just did it all by himself, like no problem. And then all of a sudden he was like confused and like overly excited and stuff. So I was like, oh man. But we sorted it out. It took like a good week to get the like bopping, the excessive bop, and the like wiggling around under control, and it was like such an arm workout for me to do the feeds. I would have to hold my nipple like a certain way, and I would have to hold his head like, and put him up against the breast like as fast as I possibly could as soon as we got the open mouth. Otherwise, if I missed that opportunity, it's like, okay, we're back to square one. And then I would have to like put a finger under his chin. I don't know why, that just seemed to help him keep his suck and his latch. So it was quite a workout actually, and I think we're doing so much better now. That's for sure. It just kept getting better and better. We're still at the point where he just kind of sees me as food. Like every time he's with me, it's bop, bop, bop. But it's getting better. Like he's having more happy time because his belly's like staying fuller for longer periods of time because his belly's bigger now because breast milk metabolizes so fast and they have the teeniest, tiniest little bellies. But still, I don't remember with any of my girls them feeling this really crazy urge to feed on me like all the time. And he seems to feed a lot more like how I remember Olivia feeding. Like Leia was like just eat, done. It was just easy, and she unlatched and she was like happy Buddha. And then with him and Olivia, they're like gourmet feeders. They just like he's gulping more than Olivia ever did, and he like goes for it, but then he like falls asleep, and then he's like, oh, okay, I'll eat again, and then he's like, oh, I'll fall asleep, and then I'll eat again. And sometimes he just like chills there and he looks at me and he soothes there. So the boob is like more than just food time, that's for sure, which is normal. I mean, in German, breastfeeding is actually called stillen, which means like to make calm, kind of. So yeah, I don't know what else I have to say really about our update. Postpartum, this was definitely my hardest recovery. You know, it was my most intense birth as well, and I had the pelvic pain. So just like 2 days ago, I started noticing, especially, well, in the beginning, like I would like sit crisscross and I would use like breastfeeding pillows to feed him. And after sitting crisscross was the worst. Like everything just felt really stiff and I would even have a hard time kind of walking. Oh, and a lot of people ask me if I got a tear. I didn't have a tear, and my vagina is actually doing better than all three this time around. So I'm really grateful about that, but it's probably because he's my third. He did have the biggest head and all that stuff, but like I had like a little cut. I didn't have a tear with my girls, but I had like a little cut kind of on the inside in the same exact place. Whereas with him, nothing at all. Like I could pee. I remember being so scared to pee when I went to the toilet, but it didn't hurt at all. I was like, oh, thank goodness. Pelvic floor is a little weak. Like I don't have any incontinence issues, thankfully, but I'm trying to get back into the rhythm of my Kegels, and it's just like, you know, when you start doing your Kegels, it's really like an irritating feeling. Like I don't know what it is, it's just like you can feel how weak the muscles are, so it's just like irritating to do Kegels. That's the best way I can explain that. I don't know. So what was I talking about? Oh, the pelvic pain and all that stuff. So it's been just a couple days ago that I started feeling like I wasn't having that much trouble walking after sitting crisscross. For some reason, sitting crisscross really triggered like pain in my legs and in my pelvic region. But now it's like almost completely normal. We've been going for walks as a family again for the past few days, and it's been really nice. And I remember feeling pretty sore after the first couple, but now I'm like fine. I'm not doing any exercise as of right now except for like yoga, like basically breathing, prana exercise. So like just basically sitting on the floor and breathing and stretching my neck and just doing like really like things like that if I have time. Sorry, just needed to check that everything was fine. I've had like no baby blues this time. Like I have only been like always happy. Like the only time I've ever cried is out of joy, whereas with the girls, like with Olivia, I actually had pretty severe baby blues. I felt like everything was so different. I felt really down. It lasted for like those first couple months even, because things were so difficult and I was a first time mom probably. With Leia, I was like a little bit hormonal and I definitely noticed some moodiness. And this time I wouldn't say I'm not moody, especially I feel like I'm a little bit shorter with the girls lately. Like if they're doing something they're not supposed to, I'm a lot snappier because I'm also really tired, and that's another thing we can talk about is the nights in a second. But I've only had like tears of joy like consistently like since he was born, so I really hope that it stays that way. Normally the baby blues for me always kicked in around day 7, and I remember like waiting for the hormonal crap to start. Like I was like, oh man, we're getting close to day 7. Day 7's always the bad day. But it's been really good actually. I think it's just the more kids you have, the more confident you get in yourself sometimes too. And everything has gone really smoothly. Like there's no reason that I could really think of to be upset. So as for the nights, the first few nights were freaking fabulous. He slept like a 5-hour stretch on the first night, which was incredible. I like totally recovered from like the whole night of not sleeping because I was in labor. Let me see. Then he started sleeping like more 2 to 3 hour stretches, and now last night he woke up and wanted boob every 20 minutes. Like it was no joke. And he will sleep in his co-sleeper sometimes, but there's always a point where he ends up in our bed. So yeah, he sleeps next to me also, like in the co-sleeper. So last night was a lot of work. It's just, we never really know what we're gonna get with him. That's the best way I can describe it. It's like it's like the pregnancy was. It's like some days they're really good, some days are more rocky. But I think when you're a third-time parent, like you just, like the number one rule as a parent is just never expect anything out of a baby, especially in that first year. So yeah, I think I'm gonna stop the video now because I wanna eat some lunch, get some lunch in there while he's doing his papa time. We'll just go straight to the belly shop. All right, you guys, so here is 2.5 week postpartum belly. Today I'm wearing workout stuff. I think I'm just gonna do some yoga today, like mainly prana. So here is with the clothes. I'm still wearing maternity leggings because it's so much more comfortable than regular ones. So here it is from the front, and the side still, the side especially looks the most poochy. But if you want to see the stretch marks, I'm gonna have to lower the camera, but so stretch mark wise, he got me up here, but it really wasn't that bad. Now the belly looks so much better. The belly looks so much better now than it did at like a couple days. I was like, I think I'll insert a picture actually. It was just like hard and more bulgy than my other postpartum bellies, but he was my biggest baby, and also I carried the most fluid, so this definitely was my biggest bump. And I carried him the highest and like the most forward, so I was just like, it looked like I kind of had a little bit, like especially that first day, it looked like I had an umbilical hernia, but my belly button actually went back in. I was really happy about that. So overall, I'm feeling just really grateful that my body is like really healthy, and my midwife was like saying, you know, your body always just goes back really fast. You're really lucky. Like, I mean, not like weight wise it doesn't go back fast, but like my uterus shrinks down really fast and it gets in place really fast. So I'm really lucky about that because I've never experienced like the wobbly uterus. Like apparently, like she gave me something to wrap around the bottom of my belly because apparently your uterus can be quite wobbly, but they checked and they're like, no, her uterus is like fixed or something like that, like fest is what it is in German. That is everything. I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. Again, I'm just really happy that my body's healthy, and that's the most important. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you next time. Bye.
So cute.
You having a good time?
It's a big boy.
Yeah, he's really cute. Oh. And you can never tell if the grunts are gonna go from like happy grunt to a sad grunt. Oh man, another, always a stain on the side of every single one of his new things. Superman.
Sunshine. No.
No.